Look, I know what you're thinking. Walter White was a monster. Everyone says Breaking Bad is about a good guy who becomes the villain. But hear me out. What if we've been watching this show completely backwards? What if Walter White isn't the bad guy at all? I'm about to blow your mind. Everything Walter did makes perfect sense. And honestly, if you were in his shoes, you'd probably do the exact same thing. Let's start from the beginning, because nobody talks about how messed up Walter's life was even before the cancer. This guy got totally screwed over by everyone around him. And I mean everyone. First, his old college buddies Gretchen and Elliot basically stole his company. Gray Matter was supposed to be Walter's baby. He helped create something worth billions, and they pushed him out. Now they're living in mansions while he's teaching teenagers who couldn't care less about chemistry. That's gotta mess with your head, right? But it doesn't stop there. At home, his brother-in-law Hank treats him like a complete joke, always making fun of him, acting like Walt's some kind of weakling.
Hey, it's not gonna bite you, all right? Looks like Keith Richards with a glass of warm milk. Hey, Walt, come here, everybody, listen up. I'm gonna give a little toast to my brother-in-law. Come here. Walt, you got a brain the size of Wisconsin, but we're not gonna hold that against you.
And his own son? Walter Jr. literally tells his dad,
"You're a pussy."
Imagine your own kid saying that to you. Meanwhile, Skylar's basically checked out of their marriage. She's going through the motions, but you can tell she's not happy. The guy's living in his own house feeling like a stranger. So when Walter gets diagnosed with lung cancer, 2 years to live, maybe less, he's not some happy family man who suddenly turns evil. He's a guy who's been getting kicked around his whole life, finally facing the fact that he's gonna die with nothing to show for it. That's when something clicks for Walter. He realized he's been playing by everyone else's rules his entire life. And where did that get him? Nowhere. So he decides to stop being a victim and start taking control. Now, everyone focuses on meth cooking, like that's where he went wrong. But think about what Walter actually discovered. He was incredible at something. For the first time in years, maybe decades, he found something he was genuinely good at. Something that made him feel powerful and important again. And look at who he chose to work with, Jesse Pinkman. This kid was a total mess. His parents gave up on him. He was heading nowhere fast, probably gonna end up dead or in prison. But Walter saw something in him that nobody else did. He became the mentor Jesse never had. That's not evil. That's actually pretty amazing. Walter took a lost kid and tried to turn him into something better. Let's talk about the so-called terrible things Walter did, because this is where people really get it wrong. Crazy 8 in the basement, everyone acts like Walter just murdered some innocent guy. But what really happened? Walter's chained up with a dealer who's literally trying to kill him. He finds out Crazy 8 grabbed a piece of broken glass planning to stab Walter the second he gets close enough. What would you do? Let yourself get murdered because killing is wrong? Or protect yourself and your partner? Walter chose to live. And afterwards, he was devastated. You can see how much it messed him up. That's not a cold-blooded killer. That's someone who hated what he had to do but did it anyway to survive. Then there's Jane. This is the one that really gets people upset. They act like Walter strangled her or something. But here's what actually happened. Jane was destroying Jesse. She got him hooked on heroin, isolated him from everyone, and was about to run off with his money. Jesse was gonna die, either from an overdose or because Gus would eventually get tired of his unreliability and kill him. So when Walter walked in and found them both passed out, he had a choice. Save Jane and watch her kill Jesse slowly, or let her choke and save Jesse's life. Either way, someone was gonna die. Walter just chose which one. And you know what? He was right. Jesse lived, got clean, and became stronger because of it. Sometimes you have to make the hard choice that nobody else will make. With Gale, people say Walter killed an innocent man just to save himself. But Gale wasn't some random good guy. He was Gus's backup plan. Gus was grooming him to replace Walter, which would have meant both Walter and Jesse were dead men. It was either Gale or both of them. Walter protected his partner the only way he could. Even Mike, everyone calls that Walter's worst moment, but Mike represented everything that had been holding Walter back his whole life. The old ways of doing things, the compromises, the "that's just how it is" attitude. By the time Walter eliminated Mike, he wasn't just protecting himself, he was finally becoming the person he was always meant to be. Here's the thing nobody wants to admit. At every step, Walter was protecting the people he cared about, his family, Jesse, himself. He wasn't some psychopath who enjoyed hurting people. He was a guy who finally stopped letting the world walk all over him. And the results speak for themselves. By the end, what did Walter accomplish? His family got the money they needed.
That is not
$9,720,000.
Where did it come from, and why is it here?
I earned it, and you're going to give it to my children.
Jesse escaped and got to start over. All of Walter's enemies were eliminated. He died on his own terms, having built something that actually mattered. People call it a tragedy, but I call it a success story. Walter White went from being nobody special to becoming a legend. He refused to just fade away quietly. He made his mark on the world in a way that nobody could ignore. The real tragedy would have been watching him die in some hospital bed, forgotten by everyone while his family struggled financially and his potential went to waste. Instead, he became Heisenberg. He became the guy who knocks. He became the danger. Look, I get why people are uncomfortable with Walter's story. We're taught that good people are supposed to be nice, quiet, and follow the rules. But sometimes the rules are rigged against you. Sometimes being nice gets you nowhere. Sometimes you take what's yours instead of waiting for someone to give it to you. Walter White figured that out. He stopped apologizing for wanting more and started doing something about it. He stopped being a victim and became a victor. That's not evil, that's actually pretty inspiring. Walter White had the strength to become great, even when it meant making choices that scared other people. And that's exactly why Walter White did nothing wrong. He did everything right. He just did it on his own terms. That's what makes him a hero.